Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. It is the King and I Life podcast hosted by myself, Soul Toucher the Poet, and my brother in this joint.
So legs.
Yo, we are talking about should there be another Million Man March? And if so, what is the purpose of the march? Ladies and gentlemen, we touched on some spots so far. We're about to get deeper into it. So tune in and rock with us, man.
For sure.
So what you want to pick up on that, man?
So let's get back with the justice system and healthcare environment, but we'll start off with the justice system.
Justice system. I took a pause. I took a pause on that because one, yes, we know the justice system was instituted, has been, is, and will be what it is. We just know that. Outside of certain law enforcement officials who go out of their way to demean us and degrade us in all types of things. The one frustration I have is, and I'm going to be blunt, is why the fuck put yourself in a position to where you have to deal with it? It's what I do not fucking understand. Again, we know what it is, but why go out of your way to put yourself in a situation to where you have to deal with it? I've been around several people who complained about the justice system. Some of them have valid gripes. Some of them don't. Now, for those who don't, I'm looking at, well, shit. If you had a fucking job, you probably would not have to deal with that. If you were not a repeat offender, you probably wouldn't have to deal with that. If you didn't fit the description of certain things, you wouldn't have to deal with that. And if you didn't commit fucking crimes, you wouldn't have to deal with that. Now, fit the description is, up in the air because, hell, I could fit the description because of my skin color or the way I dress. But when I say fit the description, I'm talking about those who literally walk around with no regard for anything, and they literally fit the description. I'm not talking about the, oh well, I thought you did this, not you look like, no, I'm not talking about those people. I'm talking about those people who are literally out there marketing themselves in the manner in which they fit the description. Again, we already know the justice system is in a lot of areas just not equal. um it could be better. um when I look at it in terms of the Million Man March, and I say no follow up,
Mm-hmm.
this is one of those things to where, all right, we're gonna have this Million Man March, we're gonna put this issue on the table, but we need to come to the conclusion, the decision, and the mind space to say, we're going to take this back to our communities and we're going to push this to these uh, people in political positions to make these changes. We're going to stay on their necks. We're not going to stop. We're going to keep on them until they be like, fuck, I got to do something. Or then they, or they realize, you know what? Yeah, you're right. This is fucked up and I need to change. And that goes back to having people in the right places. It don't have to be in a political office if politics is not your thing, but you need to be in an organization that is supportive of our people and our needs and our frustration, that can push that agenda forward to, hey, well, I'm not into politics, but these group of people are, and if I take my issue to them, they could take my issue forward and, align with other groups and push forward for change.
I'll say this for the justice system. The one I think is pure trash, and I'm putting it kindly when I say that. Two, we know that, people that look like us get more time for crimes that other people don't get nowhere near as much. They may even get a damn, slap on their hand or something. I just feel like this whole system is designed perfectly with us excluded from it. Meaning it was never designed for us. It wasn't designed to be fair. Not for us. For me, everything comes back down to law, right? We know that the laws that are in place now are not just. We know that some of them are, ridiculous. But it was set up that way, in my personal opinion. I think that at some point, we as a people, we already know this game. We played this game many a times. But for some reason, some of us just don't want to freaking learn. Again, like you said, it's about how you conduct yourself, how you carry yourself. We know that they target certain individuals based off of how they look, which is total nonsense to me. But again, when you know what it is they're looking for and you still refuse to, again, carry yourself in a better light or move in a different way, then you can't be surprised by what you get. But again, with the march, this is something that definitely would have helped, those people out that attended, if we could at least had that aspect of it, of take this back to your community and here's what to do in certain situations. And I'm not saying that that didn't happen, but again, I didn't see the impact of it.
Um, the justice system was designed with us in mind. Um, I'm not disagreeing with what you said,
Mm-hmm.
but what I'm saying is the justice system was designed with us in mind. And what I mean by that, it was designed just to do what it has been doing to us for as long as it's been in place.
Right.
It was designed to keep us at bay
I agree.
from the slavery days. Um, but again, um, as trash as it is, um, I'm not going to go out there and pretend that I know actual statistics on anything. Um, because, when I hear we get more time for this and more time for that, I hear that in the news. I read that in newspapers. I hear that from um, other small media outlets. I hear that from um, maybe people who have been locked up. But can I statistically say and percentage wise say that we get more time for this than any other group? I really can't say. Um, do I think it's unfair to us? Yes. Do I think that we get harassed more? Yes. Do I think we get locked up for a lot of bullshit? Yes. Yes, 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 yes. But in comparison to other groups, I don't know the statistics because it's a whole lot more of them than it is of us. So in that aspect, I don't know. They say it's more of us locked up than it is them. Uh, I don't know. Again, it's a whole lot more of them than it is of us. Um, but I will stick to, um, given the fact that we know what it is, I just think that it makes no sense that a lot of our people choose to put themselves in a situation to where they have to deal with it. Now, I'm not talking about all of our people.
Mm-hmm.
I'm talking about the ones who literally put themselves in a position to have to deal with the justice system. It's so easy. Um, I put it like this: it's so easy for me to sit back and have my opinion on that issue because, hey, I, I choose not to deal with the justice system anymore. You know, I've had my minor interactions with it. And it's also easy for me to say, I know people who do stupid shit who have no choice but to deal with the justice system. Um, but again, we already know what it is. We know what it is. Why further put yourself in a situation to where you don't know what Mr. White officer is going to do, what he's thinking, how he's feeling, how he looks at you, this, that, and the other. Um, Outside of that, if we have so much of a problem with it, if we have so much of a problem with it, there's nothing on this planet stopping us from getting together and saying, we're not going to take this anymore. Marching, get out of here with that. Um, you might get a news clip off of March. It takes action. Action, period. Um, the the small revolutionary minded part of me says, hey, if y'all are really that frustrated with what the hell is going on, fight back. Like literally fight back. Don't bitch back. Fight back. What they gonna do then? At some point, they're gonna be like, these jokers ain't playing with us. Maybe we need to take a look at what's really going on in our police departments and make changes, or we still gonna have this revolving issue.
Well said. I'll say this, right? Um, I was fortunate enough to actually be on the actual uh, Indian reservation. I've been
Mm-hmm.
on, this particular reservation a few times now, and I see how their community is, meaning they police their own community. They got their own police department, library. I mean, everything that we have out here, they have there,
Mm-hmm.
but they police their own community. Um, and again, I say that to say that this: if they can do it, well, why can't we do it? Meaning, I think that we focus so much on what other people are doing to us that we don't self-check ourselves. Like everything that we're facing right now, it would be so much better for us if we checked ourselves first, meaning we know people in our community who are doing wrong.
Mm-hmm.
We don't say shit to them. We just let them keep doing what they're doing. That person, I'm not saying that person is a bad person. In their mind, they're doing what they feel is necessary to get by.
Right.
I'm not saying, again, that you have to stop them. I'm just saying redirect them. Meaning, if they're doing something that is harmful to the community, you can redirect that energy to do something that's more productive to the community.
Mm-hmm.
Meaning, people who run illegal businesses, they have the mindset to run a legit business, but they feel like the opportunity isn't there, the backing isn't there.
Mm-hmm.
And again, I'm not saying I got all the answers. I don't. But I'm just simply saying that so much that we face could be handled in house and not even have to, face the justice system on that level.
Right.
But I'll
Yeah.
move on.
But I mean, before we move on, I totally agree with you. And when you constantly talk about we should have our own, we should have our own, it doesn't necessarily mean that we have to have what the Native Americans have. I mean, because they have land that was parceled off to them, blah blah
Right.
blah. So we're not going to get that. So there's only so many comparisons that we can make with them and us. But you're right. They have their own because they have their own reservations, which is protected land, blah blah blah. They police their own. Um, we could easily do that. Um, but it takes people who don't have a problem correcting and people who are open to being corrected. Um, and the problem with that is the respect level that people have for each other in
True.
our communities. It's like these people who are out there being knuckleheads doing wrong. They have they have little to no respect for anyone else outside of themselves or people who have the same mindset as them.
Right.
Um, but bringing it back to the Million Man March, this is something that should have been heavily preached. Um, it's nice to say, hey, y'all need to, whatever y'all doing in Washington, y'all need to keep us in mind because we here too. That's all well and fine, but we still need to have people out in our community saying, hey, yeah, they could be doing more, but we can be doing more than what they're doing because it's what we're doing directly affects us. And if we're not doing the things that uplift us as a whole, they're really not going to look at us like seriously. Um, that's just like, you know, if me and you are sitting there saying, "Hey, we want to do this, we want to do that," and we go to a bank and say, "Hey, we need a business loan, blah blah blah." If we don't look the part and come as a strong front, they're gonna look at us and be like, huh, "Okay, we hear you." But if we come in there and we are serious about our business, they're gonna give us a second look, like, "Oh, okay, let me hear what you got to say." And again, that boils down to we need to take care of us.
Right.
Period. Period. But moving on to healthcare and environmental hazards. Um, I don't even know where to go with healthcare. Um, because we have a problem as a people to where some percentage of our people are anti-healthcare, and I'm not talking about um, those who feel like it's a conspiracy against our people. I'm talking about our people who literally don't want to go to the doctor because they don't want to know if or what is wrong with them. And, you know, that has to be in the conversation. Um, are there certain situations where our healthcare is not as good as in other places? Yes, it's out there. With everything else, it's out there. So don't get me wrong by saying, "Oh, it's our fault. It's our fault. It's our fault." Yes, there are healthcare disparities out there. There is, but we need to be more proactive in our health. Period. Because just like the justice system, if you do what you are supposed to do, then it's less likely that you will have a need for that. Um, and I'm speaking from a person who does not do exactly what I'm supposed to do with my body. Because I'm pre-diabetic. Whose fault is that? The healthcare system or mine? It's mine. Um, Cholesterol has been high, blood pressure fluctuates. Is that the healthcare system's fault or is that mine? It's my responsibility to take care of me. Now, I'm not dismissing the fact that the healthcare system is trash. The healthcare system is trash for everyone in America,
Agreed.
the vast majority of people. There are people out there who have a golden box with healthcare, but for the vast majority of American people, it doesn't matter what your background is. It's a problem. There are so many older white people on fixed incomes who complain about healthcare. So we can't just say, oh, it's against us, this, that, and the other. But again, not to say that that doesn't exist, but at the end of the day, if we don't give a damn, they're not going to give a damn.
True that. On healthcare, I'll say this. I think that we're all, to a certain extent, all in the same box with that, meaning the general public. We know that the food in this country is trash. We know that the drugs that they push are not the best the best thing
Right.
for us. There are herbs and natural ways of healing the body, but they'll suppress that information to keep, the general public on these drugs. I just have to say that it again comes down to each individual. Um, can I say stop eating or no? I can't say that. Only thing I can say is eat better,
Yeah.
exercise more. Be conscious of the food that you consume and what's in those foods. But again, I just feel like our healthcare system could be a hell of a lot better. Um, I'm sure that a lot of people would agree with that. That's one of the things, again, if the march would have continued, I'm sure would have, come into a major part of it, teaching people how to eat right and better ways to take care of themselves.
Yeah. Um, I mean, it's easy and in some aspects justifiable to talk about Tuskegee, uh, Henrietta Lacks, um, a lot of the unknown experiments, so to speak, that have occurred throughout the history of this country that was done to us medically because they felt we were inferior or looked at us like animals or whatever the case may be. You know, yes, we can say all of that. We can look at all of that. We can have um our reservations as far as trust in the medical care system. We can have all of that. But we can't blanket that and say we should stay away from it, blah blah blah, because there's a lot of good that comes out of it,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of good that benefits us. um it's just at the end of the day, you have to take care of ourselves. um and this is another thing, you know, where I say if we have more of our people in certain places, maybe, just maybe, we can have more confidence in these institutions and systems. But I think a lot of people do not want to accept that reality. Um, if you have more black doctors or more doctors who relate to us and we trust and feel that they have our best um in mind when they treat us, then maybe there's change. But again, overall, it's trash for everyone. um and I think that's something that the Million Man March should have pushed. Yeah, it's so easy to say, hey, y'all been doing this to us, y'all been doing that to us, and but at the end of the day, we have to look at what we do to ourselves. No one is forcing us to smoke cigarettes. No one is forcing us to be uh, drunkards. No one is forcing us to be drug addicts, even though they put that shit in our communities. No one is forcing us to do it. We have people every day making a choice to do these things, knowing the harm that comes from it. Knowing the harm that comes from it. So, um, the healthcare system needs to be fixed. Period. Um, and with us feeling like it's so much worse for us, we need to be more conscious in our own healthcare and stuff like that. Um, because if you look at the FDA, the Food and Drug Administration, um, if you look at that, if you look at the guidelines that they have for a lot of the foods that all of us consume, not just us black people, that all of us consume,
Mm-hmm.
they have acceptable levels of, let's say, insects,
Mm-hmm.
certain chemicals, certain dyes, preservatives. They have acceptable levels that is okay to fall into, happen to find themselves, or actively put into things. And it's like with anything, you don't know what level of whatever affects you. You just don't know. Like, you don't know, you can be goddamn 1 milligram of sugar from diabetes, but you don't know what the acceptable level in whatever you're consuming is the tipping point for you. But again, gotta take care of you.
I agree with you. It comes down to us. We got to take care of us. And this is not just us in our community. This is everybody. Because I feel like to a certain extent, the powers that be have really did this trick on all of us. This magical trick where some of us see it and some of us don't.
Mm-hmm.
We're all being played, people.
Yeah,
So
we
again,
all
you,
being
you just
played.
got to be aware of what it is you're taking into your body and how you treat your body.
Yep. But yo, it's the King and I Life podcast, hosted by myself, Soul Toucher the Poet, and my man.
Son Soul X.
We're talking about, should there be another Million Man March, and if so, what is the purpose? We're going to continue this conversation when we come back. But thanks for tuning in with us, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes. King and I Life podcast. Get that in.
Ooh, look at all that Parmesan.